here the topic of vaeria, the significance of the vaeria song, given Tafshin Samach Dalet, verse 2. Verse here the topic of the Makkah of Birth and its eternal benefit, given Tafshin Samach Beis, verse 3. Verse here the topic of an explanation of the four Lashonos of Geula, given Tafshin Samach, verse 4.
You probably saw in the Siddurim that cost more than $6. So in the beginning of the Siddur, you have Pelik Shira. So this Pelik Shira is a Braisa. We're missing almost everything of that Braisa. Has been lost, I suppose. But every Nidra sings a Shira to the Rabbeinu Shalom. And in Pelik Shira, there's a say, the Sfarim say it's the big Zgula to say it, for a Shidduch and for other things. In Pelik Shira, it tells you each Nidra what pasuk it sings to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Every animal, every bird, every tree, every rock, the Shemayim and the Gehenim, what they sing to the Rabbeinu Shalom. The Yelonais, what did the tree sing? The Tapuach says, every, yeah. So here it says that, I hope I'll find it. The Tzvadeya comes to visit us this Shabbos. So the Tzvadeya says, the Hakdama to Pelik Shira is a small little Braisa, which says, Shesiyim David HaMelech Sefer Tehillim Zocha Daiti Alav. David HaMelech finished the Sefer Tehillim and he felt a sense of accomplishment. Omar, L'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rabbanu Shalom, Yesh Bria Shebrasa B'Yalamecha She'omeres Shira Tzvizbachas Yaisa Mimeni. Is there any creature that says more Shira than I do? The Yaisa Shon is Damnalai Tzvadeya Achas. A Tzvadeya encountered him. The Amralai does it. Don't feel so related. Shani Ameret Shira Tzvizbachas Yaisa Mimecha. I say more Shira than you. Of all things, David HaMelech made such a beautiful Sefer Tehillim, and he's making a siyum, and he's happy. He finished the Sefer Tehillim with those everlasting, splendid Ruach HaKodesh words, K'han Neshama Ta'alei. And the frog says, I sing a better shir than you. Did you hear our frog croak? That's a nice shir than David HaMelech. There's a Medrash. Rashi in our Sedra brings only a small piece of that Medrash. The Tal HaTzvadeya. Tzvadeya is a Lashon Yachid. There's one Tzvadeya. Why does it say Batal HaTzvadeya? It should have said Bayalu HaTzvadeya. So, the Medrash says, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Tzvadeya Achas Haisa. There was one Tzvadeya, and David HaMelech and Moshe Rabbeinu hit that Tzvadeya with the matter. The Shritz and the Chalim L'Chalim. And that Tzvadeya gave off battalions and battalions of frogs. They all came out of that Tzvadeya. So there's only one Tzvadeya then that vaeria produced the entire makas of vaeria with the zillions of tzvada in the tzvay. So, Amar Rabbi Akiva, Amar Rabbi Lazar Akiva, Malach Eitzel Agada. Why do you darshan Agada? You're not so good at Agada. You mind your business. You go to a Negayim and Ahalos. Negayim and Ahalos are the most difficult Mishnayos. You'll be Isaac and Nigala, you say Pshat reference for Rambam, Rabbi Akiva. But never mind the way I go there. You're not so good at that. You can't say that it was one vaeria, and that vaeria produced so many tzvada. To answer the kasha from Vatala vaeria Lashon, what then happened? Vaeria achas, so there was one vaeria, Bishar, and that vaeria whistled, and all the tzvadim came out of the yaya to the call of the whistle, and they overwhelmed Eretz Mitzrayim. So Rabbi Elazar has this pshat twice with that vaeria. It was one vaeria that whistled, and all the tzvadim came. That pshat he likes more than Rabbi Akiva. Why? What's the machlokes in Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Elazar? There are 10 makas, and there are Asara Ma'amarim. And the Chedush Yerim says, Rabbanu Shalom created the world with Asara Ma'amarim, but we didn't see those Asara Ma'amarim. So along came the 10 makas, and the 10 makas were a rerun of the Asara Ma'amarim. I'll say it very big, just the mother. The Asara Ma'amarim starts with Bereishis. The Gemara says the first Maimar is Bereishis. Then the second Maimar is Vayayim Alakim Yi'ayim. And then so on and so forth. The Aliyah Kodesh says that the 10 makas were the Asara Ma'amarim, but in reverse. The 10 makas were the Asara Ma'amarim, but it started with the last. You probably heard this already, that there are 10 Ma'amarim with Sfiras. Kesachach Bina, Chesed Gvura Teferes, Nesachot Yisod Malchus. Makas Dam is Kneged Malchus, the last of the Sfiras. And so therefore, Makas B'chayreis is Kneged Bereishis, the first of the Sfiras. B'chayreis means the beginning, and Bereishis means the beginning. The next to the last one is Chayshach, and that's corresponding with the second Maimar Yehi'ayah. So the Eibusha made Chayshach to the Mitzrayim, but B'nai Yisrael Yehi'ayah b'Ma'izvayis. The next to the last one is Arba, and it covered the Shemesh and the Rekiah, and you couldn't see. You couldn't see. It was dark. It covered the Rekiah. That was Yehi Rekiah, and so on and so forth. Figure it out, and you can, and with a little application, you'll be able to figure out how each one of the 10 makas proves to the seeing, to the witnessing eye, that there were 10 Ma'amarim, B'mayim Bereishis, that Rabbanu Shalom has all these 10 koyches which were manifested by the 10 makas. because we didn't see Mainz Bereishis, but we did see the Tanman. What? Say more, yeah. This video sound like the Mamad. And the Makkos are backwards. And then, from then, since Yetzias Mitzrayim proved that the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world in 10 Mamares because he redid these Mamares by the Asar Makkos. So Yidden have to be in the cover of the Torah because they see that Rebbe Shech in the world. Because Yetzias Mitzrayim proves B'rias Ha'olam. So from this came the Shirim says the Aseret HaDibra. The first one is Anoichi, so on and so forth. Anoichi is Neged Bereishis. The fees there, the Tzfadeya, the area Kodesh says, Makas HaTzfadeya is Kneged Yisai. Midas HaYisai. The Midah of Kedushas Avraham Avinu, Kedushas Abris, that from that comes Haylad, reproduction, Yisai. So the B'nai Yisrael explains that with this we understand the Medrash. There's a pasuk in Tehillim, I think in Kuf Hey, the David HaMelech chazes over Rodi Asara Makis. So it says over there, Utzfadeya Vatashchisa. The Rebbeinu Shalom sent it Tzfadeya and was mashchis them. So the Medrash says it was Masaris them. The Tzfadeya attacked in its Tzriyim and it sterilized them. Why? Because the Makkah of Tzfadeya is Midas HaYesod. So it sterilized them. So that's the opposite of Yesod. That's the Makkah. And every Makkah that the Mitzrayim had, as Zayah says, was the Yeshua for the Eden of Fakir, just like when the Mitzrayim had Chayshach, the Eden had Oyer, and so on and so forth. The Medrash also says that the Medrash gives the reasons for every one of the Asara Makkos why the Mitzrayim deserved that Einish. So on Tzfadeya, the Medrash says because the Mitzrayim wanted to kill out all the Zacharim and let the Kavos live. In Bainhu Vamid and Isai, V'charabas Techayim. So the Medrash says because the Mitzrayim was Tuvei Zima and they wanted to be Mazana with the Yiddish Nashim. And there should be no Zacharim around, so the Nashim would be available for the Mitzrayim. So we understand why the Makkos Tzfadeya came. Now, this Indian, the Sitra Achra, the Kayach Hara, the Satan, always wants to be Meises Tumah in the world. Because if there's more Tumah, there's more Ruach HaTumah, and there's more Aveiras in the world. Because the more like now in America, it's more the Ruach HaTumah. That's why Yidden never have so much Nishel. The Mitzrayim wanted to make it to Aruva, a mixture of Kedusha and Tumah. Because the B'nai Yisrael are Kedusha. And they are going to be assimilated with the Mitzrayim. So it's going to be a Taruvais of Taiv and Ra. a cloud. The Avnei Nezer talks about it. May Oilam, a Taruves of Toivim Ra is worse than the Ra itself. That was the whole trouble with the Eitz Das. It was a Taruves of Toivim Ra. Eitz Das, Toiv Ra. A Taruves of Toivim Ra is worse than the Ra in itself. Now, it could be explained. Because actually, Ra is non-existent. Sure, it doesn't exist. Everything exists from a nitzat kadosh from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Everything which is tahor and kadosh, this gets its ruach hachayim from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Where does tumah get its existence from? From the Rabbeinu Shalom. The Rabbeinu Shalom is kadosh, 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 kadosh Hashem tzvot. Where does the tumah get its existence from? Tumah gets its existence from taking Bashivya, taking into captivity, Kaidish and suppressing it under the Ra. And the Ra is Yainek from the Kaidish. That's how Tumah exists. That is the main vaeria of Zera Levatova, because the Sitra Achra catches that Zera, and it exists from it because there's Kedusha in it. So by making a Taruva such Taivim Ra, you give existence to the Ra. Because the Ra cannot exist without being Yainik from the Taiv. A Taruves of Taivim Ra is worse than the Ra in itself. And the Mitzrayim wanted to make a Taruves of Taivim Ra. The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah that Chamra Diyama Tahar, Taira Diyama Tamei. The Gemara says a cloud over here. Every creature that you find by Abasha, you find Biyam. But whatever is Tahayr in the Abasha is Tamei in the Yam. Whatever is Tamei in the Abasha is Tahayr in the Yam. Taisus wants to say that that's only by the Chameir and the ox, the Torah and the Chameir. But the Mefarshim don't agree with that. And even Taisus says, the Lechaoyre, it seems that way. There's a big cloud on Paskin, that wherever it says the word Lechaoyre, the Yemes is that it's not that. So every creature that is Tahir in the Yabasha, its corresponding creature in the Yam is Tamei, and vice versa. Now, let's analyze the Tzvadeya. What is the Tzvadeya? Is it from the Yabasha or it's from the Yam? It's in between. It's amphibian. In other words, it's both from the Yabasha and both from the Yam. And it can live in both places. And the Rebbe said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Nitayas Yadcha ala Ya'irim, and the Haras Tzvadeya, the Teitzei al Eretz Mitzrayim. The frog gives himself a nature, both on the Yabasha and both in the Yam. So what's the Yabasha? What's the frog? So I have a tummy. It's a taru. The Tzvadeya is a taru. And with that, we could understand that Yitzvadim were Nenash with the Tzvadeya, which is a taruva, because they wanted to make a taruva. Now, the Gemara says in Pesachim that when Yankov Avinu had his children come to his he comes to B'Shimur ben Ayayin cave. He asked them if they believe and if they're Kabbalah and they believe in the Rabbeinu Shalom. So they all said, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So Yaakov Avinu answered, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Aliyayim V'Olam. That's what the Gemara says himself. And then the Gemara says over there in Baruch that Baruch Shem Kvod, we say Balachash, we say it quiet. Why? It's a mashal to a bas melech that was Meriach Tzike Gedayra. When you cook a tafshil, there is some undesired material on the tafshil which finds its way on top and it sticks to the pot, and that's not very appetizing, and usually we throw it away. These are called tzike gedayra. So there was a bas melech that smelled the tzike gedayra, and she was in sakana, and she had an appetite to it, and it's a sakana for her to not to partake of it. So the na'arais of the bas melech said, what should we do? She would give the bas melech the tzike gedayra. It's not nice. A princess should eat tzike gedayra. That's covered. Should we not give it to her? She'll get sick. She'll get a bonus. What should we do? So they gave it to her. They sent everybody out and gave it to her b'chashoy, quietly, when nobody sees. So therefore, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus, we say quiet. The Shechina Gedosha wants and desires this Shevach of Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus, and we say it quietly. The Nefesh HaChaim from Reb Chaim Volozhin now explains this Gemara. There's a big difference between Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad and Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus. This is explained in the Tanya exactly the same way, but the Nefesh HaChaim brings out the mashal it should be more with more emphasis that Shema Yisrael means the Kedusha of the Rabbeinu Shalom is all over. But there are, in this Olam Hazeh, there is Tumah. Can you say that the Kedusha of the Rabbeinu Shalom is there, and this Olam Hazeh with its Tumah? So, but the Rabbeinu Shalom wants us to acknowledge that even the Tumah, even where there is Tumah, the Rabbeinu Shalom is there, and he gives it chayus. It can't exist without the Rabbeinu Shalom. U'malchusei b'kol mashallah. The malchus of the Rabbeinu Shalom is all over, and everything. So therefore, that's called Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus. We spoke last week about the Beis HaKisei. The Beis HaKisei was reiche to have a simon in the Shulchan Aruch named after Shulchan Beis HaKisei, which means that the Rabbeinu Shalom is leis asaf hanui minei. There's no cubic millimeter in the entire Vaeria where the Rabbeinu Shalom isn't there. But we're supposed to be careful. It's not a covet for the Rabbeinu Shalom that we should say that he is Mechaya even the Tumah. So therefore, that's called Tzike Gedayra. The Shechina Gedosha wants us to acknowledge that Rabbanu Shalom is all over, even in Tumah, and it can't exist without him. But it's not nice, so we say it quietly. Vaeria Shem Kved Malchus Eliyalam Vod. The Malchus of the Rabbanu Shalom. Malchus means all over. Malchus Bakayla Mashavet. That we say quietly. Now, let's go back to Perek Shira. Perek Shira is the Shira which each creature says. So, let's say there are Baalei Chayim Tehorim, and each one of them says Shira. That Shira comes from a makom of Tahara, and it's a covet for the Rabbanu Shalom. But how about the Tmeim? Is it a covet for the Rabbanu Shalom that the Tmeim should say Shira before him? Not a covet. It's Tika Gedai. So who says Shira? So how can the Tmeim say Shira? We can answer that. Since each creature which is Tahar has a corresponding creature which is Tamei, and vice versa. So the Shira is said by the Tahar, and his Maitze, his corresponding min Tamei. Like the Chamayr of the Yam says Shira, and that also is the Shira of the Chamayr of the Yabasha. The Shayar of the Yabasha says Shira, and with that is Maitze, the Talmud, the Geshayar in the Yam, which is Talmud. That we can answer. But then we have a problem. Who says Shira for the Tzvade? Who says Shira for the Tzvade? The Teretz is, Tzvadim do say Shira. In the Pchina from Tzika Gedaira, that's why their Shira is Vaeria Shem Kved Malchus Eliyalam Vod. And it's the only creature, you can look up in the Siddur later, it's the only creature in the entire Perek Shira who doesn't say a pasuk from the Torah. Every balchai, every tree, every blade of grass says a Shira pasuk from Tanakh, but not the Tzvadaya. It says Vaeria Shem Kved Malchus Eliyalam Vod. It's Bachashay, because the Tzvadaya is a mixture of Torah and Ra. It can't say a pasuk in the Torah. So that's what they Vaeria Shem Kved, that's what she said, Balachash, Tika Gedaira. It's not the covet to say it aloud. Now, we have the 16 Masechtas that we have, the Zor Mesudo in Seder. And the Rambam and Pirush and Mishnayos will take time off to explain why each Masechta follows the Masechta before it. So after we learn Masechta Keilim, with which Seder Ta'aras begins, and it tells us which Keilim are Mekabel Tumah, which Keilim are not. So after that comes Masechta Ahalais. Ahalais is the demon of Tumas Meis, which is Matami B'Yayim. So the Rambam says, since Ahalais is the most Chamor de Ketuma, because it's Matami B'Yayim, it's Aviyavaisa Tumah. So it's the first Masechta which tells us which are the Tmeim. After that comes Negayim, because Negayim is not as Tamei as Tumas Meis, but it still is Matami B'Yayim. So after that comes Negayim. That's how the Rambam explains the sequence of these Masechtas. I already, I think, explained this to you, that the Mispar Echad is Kedusha. The Mispar Shnayim is Sitra Ach. Shnayim is Sitra Ach. Because Shnayim is Shniyos, two. And this schmeckt mit Elohim Acherim, with the opposite of Achdus. And that's why on Monday it doesn't say Kitayv, because Monday is the second day, the first day of Shniyos. And that's why the Gemara says in Pesach, we should be careful with Zugais, because Zugais is the seat of the Sitra Achra, so the Kishif dwells upon Zugais. In Tikkun Zayir it says that's why Ein Darshan the Merkava B'Shnayim. Two people alone aren't allowed to Dairish the Merkava, because the Merkava is Kodesh Kedoshim. Get Shnayim out of there. And that's Pshat in Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah is Kodesh Shabbos, Rosh Hashanah. And that's how the Chida explains why Yerushalayim made two agalim, two calves, to be the Avodah Zarah. He wanted two, because two is Mamishah the Sitra Achra. The Rambam explains that Oralais and Nigayim are the most Talmudic termites, right? Now, it's expressed in the very beginning of the Masechta. The Sechta Oralais starts off with these words: Shnayim Tmeim B'Meis. Two people are two unanimous Tamei by a Meis. The Masechta, which speaks about the biggest tumah, starts with the word Shnayim. The same thing is with Negayim. Maris Negayim Shnayim, Shem Ma'ava. The Masechta Negayim starts with the word Shnayim. And why? Because it's Tamei. Now, let's go back to the machlokes between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Rabbi Akiva said that there was one Tzvadeya, and that one Tzvadeya produced 4 Tzvadim. How could that be? The Tzvadim is a Tarubis of Toiv and Ra, even worse than the Ra itself. So it starts with Achdus, with 1. How could it be? On the other hand, what are you going to say? That you should start with 2? But Tzvadim is a Tarubis, it has Kedusha in it also. It has Sayyam and Sayyabashit. What should we do? So therefore, Rabbi Akiva says that it was one Tzvadeya, and from that all the Tzvadim came. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah doesn't like that. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says no, it's a mixture. So there was a mixture in the very production of the Makas Tzvadeya. In other words, it was a mixture of 1 and 2. There was one Tzvadeya that whistled, and the Radim came. So you have both. You have Say Echad and Say Radim. Right? So that's why Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah kicked Rabbi Akiva. So when Rabbi Akiva said that there's one Tzvadeya, and only the number 1 was a factor in the Tzvadeya, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says that 2 numbers were a factor, 1 and 2, because there's a mixture. So Rabbi Elazar says to Rabbi Akiva, you're not for Agada. The Goyim starts with 2, and Nahalei starts with 2. So you see that Tumah starts with 2. So what are you saying that the Tzvadeya started with 1? Maras Negayim, Shnayim Shemava, Shtayim Tmeim B'Meis. So Masechta Negayim and Nahalei start with Shnayim. It's a chassim that the Tzvadeya can't start with Echad. There has to be a factor of Shnayim also. But it can't be Shnayim alone because it's a mixture. So it was Echad and Shnayim, Echad and Radim, Yachad and Radim, both together. So Rosh Yachad and Rosh Radim both produced the Tzvadeya. Now, the Imrei Emes wonders, why is it that the yichud of Yaakov Avinu isn't written in the Torah? Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusay. In Kriya Shema, it says Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. But Baruch Shem Kvod is not written. But the Shema Yisrael is what the Shvatim says. So Baruch Shem Kvod, the Yankiv says. Why is that true? Anyway, so the Imre Yemes says that when Mashiach will come, we're not zeicher to the Yichud of Yankiv. That when Mashiach will come, Baruch Shem Kvod will be written in as a pasuk in the Torah or in Tanakh. I don't know how. That's what the Imre Yemes says. Because that's the Shira, that's the Yichud of Yankiv. And we're going to say it b'koil, loud. The way we do it on Yom Kippur, Baruch Shem Kvod, on Yom Kippur we say loud. Now, I'll go back to explain the difference between Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad and Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is called in the Zohar Yehuda Ilah, the uppermost Yichud, the Yichud of the Rabbanu Shloim, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Baruch Shem Kvod is Malchus B'Kol Mashallah. The Yichud Tata'ah, the bottom Yichud, that the Rabbanu Shloim is there even in the Makom of the Tumah. But we can't announce it. It's no covered for the Rosh Hashanah, for the Bas Melech. So we say it quietly. That's Yichud Tata'ah. That means that even in the Makom of Esther, where there's a Staras Panim, where there's Sitcha Achra, where there's Tumah, where there's Gaib, the Rabbanu Shloim is still there. Ein Oid Malavad. It's just a mirage that the Tumah is there. Rabbanu Shloim is there. It's a Nisayon for us to behold the Tumah when the Tumah be'emes la'amitai doesn't even exist. So, but that's going to be in the Gala Losig Love. The Medrash says, the Archaim HaKadosh brings it down the Parshas Shmini, in our pasuk Hashem Matar Asura, that when Mashiach will come, a lot of things that are also now. I know that you're going to ask me from one of the Ikshim of the Rambam. That's a besonders. A lot of things that are also now are going to be mutter then. As a chazir. Why is a chazir called a chazir? Because it's asid lahachzir lekashrut. The chazir will be kasher. There's a very big amkis in this marriage. Some Mefarshim say that Leseg Levei, the Chazar is going to become a Mala Geira. So we have both Saman and Sahara. Some Seifer wants to say that the Chazir means Esav, like Rashi says by Esav and Abraham Shana, that is like Chazir, that's Speshet Lefev. That Esav, the guy, will become Tahir. They're going to be Megaya themselves. And they'll be Mekabodi Amun. Well, whatever you're going to say, there's a big cloud. La'asad Lavai, there won't be no tumor on the world. The tumor will become battle. There's a pasuk in Yeshaya, we say it in the Haftarah of Achim Shel Pesach. Ruach HaTumah ha'avil min ha'aretz. There won't be no Ruach HaTumah in the world. Everything will be Kadosh Kadosh. So Mamela, there'll be a gili of the Hastara. We're going to realize that even in Olam Hazeh, when we thought that there are realms of Tahara and realms of Tumah, even in the realm of Tumah, there was Kedusha. The Tumah, it was non-existent. It was a mirage. It was a lie. The Medrash says, why is Esav called Esav? Shav hu shabrasi b'yolamai. He's shav. It's not so. It's false. Check it. To be the Yechidim. So La'asad Lavai, when we're going to say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus, it wouldn't be Tziki Gedaira anymore. We're going to see these goddess of Malchus Shemayim in the whole world. So La'asad Lavai will be able to say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus loudly. And like the Imre Yemes says, it will become a pasuk in the Torah. So in other words, when La'asad Lavai, the Shira after Tzfadim will become a pasuk in the Torah. Like all its friends in Peirik Shiva. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus will become a pasuk in the Torah. Because the Shira shira of the Tzvadeya is a very high shira. It's a bigger shira than all the other shiras. It's the Yankiv Zavinus Yichud, Vaeria Shem Kved Malchusay. When Mashiach will come with the Rabinus Gala, that Uvechein Tein Pachter Hashem Elekecha Kol Masecha V'Yamafcha Kol Mashiach V'Rasa V'Yerucha Kol Hamayim V'Yishach V'V'Zach Kol Abruim V'Yasu Kodem Agudachas, and it'll be a number thousand Ganzen. Only Kedusha will be in the world. And the Shira of the Tzvadeya, Vaeria Shem Kved Malchusay, will be the most beautiful Shira. That even in the Dobinus Gala and Afreya, retroactively, that even where we thought there is Tumah, the Rabbeinu Shleilim was reigning supreme. No Tumah. That's a yichud of Yankov Avinu. So the Tzvadeya sings the song of La'asad Lavai. Vatal had Tzvadeya. The Tzvadeya, the Yochid came up, the Russian Yochid. So Vatal, and he sings Vaeria Shem Kved. Vatal had Tzvadeya, the mark of Tzvadeya is a besura for the Asad Lavai, for the Yemais HaMashiach. That it's because every makkah on the Mitzrayim was a refuah for the Yidden. So by the Mitzrayim there was a Tzvadeya which is hest upon them, which is absolute tumah without no tzad tahara. By the Yidden there was a Isgalus by Tzvadeya. They felt the ha'ara v'lasad lavai of the Yemais HaMashiach, when the Vaeria Shem Kved Malchusay will be the shira of the Bria. I will say it loud and shrill, and there will be a pasuk in the Torah. Vatal HaTzvadeya is the gematria, the Ruach HaTzuma Ava Min Ha'aretz. The Tzvadeya has this kayach, that it'll prove Vaeria Shem Kved Malchusay V'Yolam V'Od. Vaeria Shem Kved Malchusay V'Yolam V'Od is the gematria, Uvechein Tein Pachter Hashem Elekeinu Kol Masecha. That's the song of the Tzvadeya. In the Bnei Yisachar, refers to Perik Shira, and he says that the song of the Tzvadeya is Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim V'Taytziyenu L'Ravaya. It's a perfect example. Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim V'Taytziyenu L'Ravaya. This is a passage that Klal Yisrael says, we came in fire and water in the Goddess, and the Rabbeinu Shalom brought us to redemption. So the Bnei Yisachar says that the Shira and Perik Shira of the Tzvadeya is this person, Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim V'Taytziyenu L'Ravaya. That's a big plea. I looked in order to do them wherever I can get any print, and order to do them say that the Shira of the Tzvadeya is Vaeria Shem Kved Malchusay. And according to the Bnei Yisachar, Perik Shira is a pasuk in the Torah. Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim is a pasuk in Torah. I do think it must be a mistake, because there is a Zayah that when the Tzvadim jumped into the fire, they said Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim V'Taytziyenu L'Ravaya. The Tzvadim came from the Mayim, now they went into the Yesh, and when all the Tzvadim died, these Tzvadim that jumped into the fire survived. And that's why the pasuk says that Moshe Rabbeinu promised Pari, all the Tzvadim will die, only those that will go back to the Oil will remain. Those are the ones of Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim. So really, Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim probably is not the Perik Shira. It's probably a Zoya. By some mistake, he said that that's the Shira of the Tzvadeya. But the Zoya says B'Feirish, that when the Tzvadeya jumped into the fire, they said Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim V'Taytziyenu L'Ravaya. But that's also, it's a song of the Tzvadeya. That's what they sang when they jumped into the fire. That means a song of L'Asad Lavai when they're going to have a pasuk in the Torah. Banu B'Eish U'B'Mayim V'Taytziyenu L'Ravaya is the gematria Geen Pachter Hashem Elokeinu al Kol Masecha. Just like Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusa. The difference is that Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusa we add Uvechein. So that's its Shir. Now we can go back to the Akdama of the Perek Shir. David HaMelech said the Sefer Tehillim. The Sefer Tehillim is the Shira of David HaMelech. It's a Shira of Olam Hazeh. And he was Tzadach. So he met the Tzvadeya. The Tzvadeya said, I'm singing a bigger Shira than you. And I jumped into the fire. Avada, the Tzvadeya sings a bigger Shira than David HaMelech. The Tzvadeya sings the Shira of Yankov Avinu's Yichud. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusa L'Olam V'Oed. But now, in Olam Hazeh, when the Ruach HaTzuma is not Avim in the Eretz yet, the Tzvadeya croaks. It's not a beautiful Shira at all. It's a Taruvis of Toiv and Ra. But the Lashed L'Aviv and the Rebbe, Las Ruach HaTzuma Avim in the Eretz, the Tzvadeya, the Medrash says Tzvadeya Tzipa Yodeya. Damos it'll be it'll be Deya. We'll understand that the Rebbeinu Shalom is over. The Las L'Aviv, the song of the Tzvadeya, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusa, which is Tika Gedeira, not such a nice song. That's why we say it's Belachash. We whisper it and we don't announce it. That'll be the biggest Shira. The Shira of Yankov Avinu more than Shema Yisrael. Yeah. So that's the Shira of the Tzvadeya, and that's even a nicer Shira than the Tehillim of David HaMelech, which is the Shira of Olam Hazeh. The Isaiah says that the Makkos of the Mitzrayim is Nagaish Parafai. It was in two forms. It was a Makkah and also a Refuah. It was a Makkah for the Yid, and correspondingly it was a Refuah for the Yid. Like I told you, it was Chayshach and Ayach, so when the Mitzrayim were inflicted with the Makkah of Tzvadeya, which is Heskal Panim, Toiv and Ra, Baruch Shem Kvod, which is Tika Gedeira, Yidden had the Ha'ara from the Lashed L'Aviv. So each Makkah was supposed to be under the Machlokes. One Mandamer in the Medrash says that each Makkah was 7 days, and the Hasra'ah for the next Makkah was the additional 21 days. And each Makkah was a month. 3 weeks for the Hasra'ah and 1 week for the Makkah. Another Mandama says that the Makkah was 3 weeks and the Hasra'ah was 7 days. So each Makkah is supposed to be a month for the Hasra'ah and the Makkah together. If Moshe Rabbeinu interrupted the Makkah Tzvadeya because Pari wanted it, so he really also interrupted the Ha'ara to the Yid because Pari wanted it. Maybe he didn't interrupt, and the Yid still got their Ha'ara of the Moshe. Or maybe because he interrupted it, it means that the time of the Geula didn't come yet. Because if they would have had the full measure of the Tzvadeya, Yid would have been Zayichet to the other to allow Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusa. And Pari, and the Yid weren't Zayich for it yet. That's why Pari couldn't take the matter to Tzvadeya. Anyway, we are waiting for Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusa B'Yayim. This is the Shira of the Tzvadeya. Going back to what we started with, these weeks are Shaila, when we have to be Mesakin, Midas HaYisrael. The Nisyanis today we just can't take. I don't know how much we need the condition in this kind of we are exposed to. One of the things in this kindness, no generation was ever exposed to such kindness, to such pizzas like today, to such machine, to such technological pizzas that is available today. I don't know if you know too much about it. In my position, people come and tell me stories and have problems. You have no hasaga, Tayyabah, how much havoc the internet caused, how much loss, how much broken family, how much tumor. I won't go into the all mindset about why, but why the Ransham do it to us? This is our insight. We have to bring a world to its tick, to the tikkun of Yankov Avinu's year. And that we do with the refuah of Makas HaTzvadeya, because Tzvadeya is Yisai, Kedushas Abris. And that's what these 6 weeks are all about, to be Masak in the Midah of Yisai, from which Makas HaTzvadeya came. So, this is what the weeks of Shaividim are all about, and if he and the Rabbi Shalom knows what he expects from us, if Yidden would do their best to be Masak in this India, and whatever was Mekulko to be to tshuva on this India, it would bring to the loud and shrill and the world will become a world of Umala, Dayas Hashem, of Tzvadeya, Kayamim Alayam Bachasim, and it'll be Kain Pachtach Hashem Alekena, Kalveret, Mosa Kalmash Bresa, Yeruha Kalamayim, Mishafat Kalabluim, and Miyasakuda Makuda Echas, Rasat Sandra Balay Babshalim, Amen Kenyarat.
For a share on the topic of a deeper understanding of the Esem Makot, given Tavshim Tes, verse 1. For a share on the topic of